Hello everyone guys, I hope that I'm live and everybody can hear me now. Can anybody confirm into the chat box whether my voice is clear? Can anybody please confirm whether my voice is clear or not guys? Okay, that's great. Good evening everyone guys. Welcome to the day 3 of the boot camp. I'll wait for 5 minutes guys so that everybody can join. Till then you can ask any question related to the whatever doubts you have. Yeah, that's great guys. That's great. If you have any doubts, guys, you can ask. I'll wait for 5 minutes, guys. Yeah, good evening, guys. Good evening, Uday. Yeah, we are going to study about data types today, guys. If you are getting something like Python not found or Python is not a command, then you must have not installed Python properly. Please check the Python, whether your Python is being installed or not. We have already talked about how to install the Python, guys. Okay, so Pythonic way is just you can say a way of writing the name of the variables by putting underscore in between. It's an open source because its code is how the Python is being developed. Its code is already being published. That's why it is an open source. Just check it whether you have properly added or you can say path as well or not. Let me just show it to you guys how you can add the path as well. Okay, I hope that my screen must be visible. Is my screen visible? Can anybody confirm into the chat box whether my screen is visible or not? Can anybody confirm whether my screen is visible or not? Okay, that's great. So let me just show it to you. So this is what the Python setup we have talked about. Let's just download it. Let's just look into it. That's misplaced. Let me just download it again. So download Python. Okay. Just go to this website and click on download Python and download this setup. Okay. Open this file, guys. And I have already installed it. That's why I'm getting this modify, repair, and uninstall option. You won't be getting it. So I'll modify it and I'll click on next. While installing, you'll get this option that is, let me just zoom it. I hope that this is clear. It's not zooming. So add Python to the environment variables. It's tick over here. If it is not tick, you have to check this box. So make sure that while installing Python, you have checked this box. If you have not checked it, you will get an error that the Python is not installed or Python is not a command. So make sure that while installing Python, you have checked this box, add Python to the environment variables. Make sure that while installing, you must have checked this box. So I hope that those who are getting an error regarding while the Python is not working or Python is not a command, this must have, you can say, solve your doubt, guys. Any other question, guys? Yeah, we can have a little bit of larger sessions, but if you are interested in that, I have to talk with my backend team and then we will decide ahead. Any other questions, guys? Okay, that's great. I hope that there is no questions. So now we'll start with today's session, guys. So up till now we have talked about what exactly the variables are and how we declare the variable. So now we are going to talk about what exactly the data types are. So let's just shift back towards the OneNote. So I hope that my OneNote screen must be visible to you guys up till now. So what exactly we are going to see is, let me just tell you. So we have talked about that there is one container, and inside this container we can keep anything. Let's just say this number, and we are calling this container by some name. Let's just say this number. So this container is nothing. This is called as variable in Python. So when we declare a variable, students, this container will say to me that, okay, you can store whatever you want, but let me just inform whatever you are storing, because I need to prepare for that. How? Because let's just say if I'm storing 5 matchbox into one container that this much size, so I can store it like this: 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and just one more. I can adjust this like that. But let's just say if I'm storing 100 matchbox, students, so I need much larger space, or you can say much larger container to store it like this. So it will occupy more space. So based upon the space, I have to decide, or I have to tell which type of container that I need. So based upon the data, that means whatever we are storing, we need to specify, we need to tell to the container, okay, I would be requiring this much space. So that's why we need to specify prior which kind of data we are going to store inside this. So this is what exactly called as data type. So we have to specify the variable, like what kind of data we are going to store inside it. So data types. So it's nothing. Data means data, and type means what kind of, you can say, data we are going to store inside it. So that's what exactly is the data type is. So there are various kinds of data type in Python. The first one is integer. So integer, I hope that you must have studied what exactly the integer is in the basic of mathematics. That is your, you can say, -1, 1, 0, and 2, 3, 4, -2, -3. These all are considered as integer, guys. If you are working with non-decimal values, that is either negative or positive, it doesn't matter. But if you are working with non-decimal values, it would be considered as integer. So the first data type in Python is integers, whatever values that you are storing, but it should be in a number format, and it should not be a decimal values. The second is your floating points, that is called as float. So if you are adding any kind of a value that is containing decimals, that is -1.1 or 0.5, or you can say 0.4 or 1.2, these are considered as floating point values into the Python, and they're called as float. So I hope that integer and float is clear up till now. Can anybody confirm? Is integer and float clear to you up till now? Can anybody confirm what I have informed up till now is clear, guys? That's great, guys. So let me just move on towards the coding part, and let's just tell you how we can add, you can say, how we can declare the data types into the Python. So, guys, Python is little bit advanced language. You don't need to specify, or you don't need to tell in Python what kind of data you are going to store. It will adjust itself automatically, because Python was, you can say, introduced much more, you can say, after certain programming languages like Java and C++. If you are coding into the Java or C++, you have to specify it like this. That is int, your number equal to 12 like this. You have to declare the variable like this. You have to specify prior of declaring the variable what kind of data you are going to store. Int over here means integer, but since this is a Python and it's a much more smarter and you can say advanced language as compared to the other programming languages, we don't need to specify. It will take it automatically that what would be the data type of the variable. If I'm storing 12 into it, that means I have successfully declared an integer variable, that this variable is an integer variable. If I have declared it like this, that is no1 equal to your 1.2, I have successfully declared the floating point variable. This is a floating point variable. Now you must be asking, sir, you have said that, okay, this is a floating point variable and this is an integer variable. How we will get to know that this is a floating point variable or this is an integer variable? Let me just specify it to you. So there is a function that is an inbuilt function that is known as type. This will get to me that what would be the type of this variable, whatever I'm using it, that is no and no1. This will specify what would be the type of this variable. Let me just specify no, and let's just work with this, that is no1. And now if I'll run this code, you can see we have got int and float. You can see, I hope that, let me just zoom it, guys. Is int and float visible to you guys? Is it clear? Can you see int and float? Is everybody has seen that is int and float? Guys, can anybody confirm whether you have seen that int or float or not? Was my screen visible to you guys? Let me just bring it back a little bit. Yeah, this is fine. I hope that integer and float is clear. This is how we declare the variable, guys. This is how we declare integer and this is how we declare a floating point variable into the Python, guys. Is this clear, guys? Okay, that's great. Now let's do certain, you can say, practice. Let's just have like this. Let's just go back and let's just do like this, and let's just go over here, and now let's just do like this. So can anybody predict what would be the output for this, guys? What would be the output for this code? I have added a certain code. I'll not run it right now. I'll give you 5 minutes to just run this code onto your laptop and just tell me what exactly would be the output for this code, guys. Okay, guys, I'll wait for 5 minutes. Just go to your laptop and just run this code and just tell me what exactly would be the output for this. I'll paste the code so that you can go and run this onto your laptop. Okay, I've pasted the code many times. Just copy this code and go onto your laptop and just run this code. Let me just still in write down few of the, you can say, part that you're telling. Okay, some are telling integer and then float. Okay. Is there anybody who is saying integer or float? Is there anybody who is saying integer and float, or integer or float? Is there anyone? Is there anyone who is saying integer or float? So all are saying integer and float. Is there anybody? Okay, some are saying only float. Okay, let's just talk about float. Okay, the second condition can be float. Okay, and is there anyone who is saying integer? Only integer. Is there anybody? Okay, integer. Okay, let's just add integer and then integer. Okay. Okay, any other possibility that you might be thinking? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let's just run this code and check what was the output. Okay, so we have got integer and float. So how we have got integer and float? Guys, I've already informed you into the yesterday's class that if you are assigning any value to a variable, that let's just say I'm assigning 12 over here right now. Let's just say I've assigned 12. And later on, if I'm changing it, the new value would be assigned to this variable. This variable is same, that is number. It's for, you can say, form is called as number only, it's called as number. But in line number 3, I've changed this variable to 1.2, and now since the new value is a floating point value, at line number 4 its data type will already, you can say, would also be changed. Since if you are changing the value, its data type will also change. So that's why at line number 2, the number data type would be of type integer, but at line number 3, since we have already changed the data type, it is going to change to float. I hope that this is clear, guys. I hope this is clear, guys. Is this clear? Yes, Nikhil. Python is an interpreted language and it interprets the code line by line. Okay, okay. Now let me just remove this, and let's just print this, guys. Let's just print this. So now we have talked about floating points as well as an integer. So can anybody predict, will, I've just entered 12 over here, the output for this will return a floating point value or an integer? What would be the output for this code, guys, that what I've written? This is the code, guys. It's just a basic code, there is no difference. I'm just taking the variable and I'm just printing it, guys. It's a basic question, guys. This is the base. If you get to know this, you will be, you can say, basics would be clear, guys. Okay, some are saying integer. Okay, only 12. Okay, okay, that's great, guys. Now you are learning Python, that's great. Okay, some are saying, let me just note it down. Okay, some are saying 12, that is equal to integer. Okay, any other question, any other possibility? Okay, 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 let's just run this code. Okay, that's great, that's absolutely fine, guys. Let's just divide it by 2, guys. Now anybody can predict what would be the output for this, guys? What would be the output for this code, guys? That's absolutely correct. Everybody was correct. We'll get an integer value, and that's what we are getting. Can anybody predict what would be the output for this code, guys? It would be integer or it would be floating point value, guys? Can anybody tell me? Okay, some are saying 6 and some are saying 6.0. Okay. Some are saying 6 and some are saying 6.0. Okay. Okay, let's just run this code, guys, and see. Okay, so you can see we have got 6.0, guys. Why we are getting? Okay, we have divided a number with an integer, that is 12. We have taken the number as 12 and we are dividing it also by an integer. So why we are getting a floating point value, that is 6.0, guys. So there is a possibility, guys, whenever you divide a number, there is a chance that you'll get you can say, floating point value, guys. So Python is a smarter language. It says, okay, if there is a possibility that we can get a floating point value, but since the possibility can be that we cannot get a floating point value, so what I'll do, I'll always print the output. If you are dividing or if you are performing any operations, I'll just print the output only into the format of a floating point value. If you want to get the format into the, you can say, integer, you have to do the absolute division. So to do the absolute division, you have to use double slash. That is, this is known as double slash. So you have to add this double slash. If we are going to add like this, you can see we have got an integer value. I hope that this is clear. If I'm going to divide it by, you can say, let's just say your 7, and now run this code. So you can see we have got 1, something like this. So this is how exactly this works. Although the value would be coming into the decimal, let me just show it to you. If I'm removing this, the output would be somewhat like this. But since I've used the absolute division over here, so we have got 1. All the decimal values have been ignored. So I hope that it is clear that whenever we are taking the values, that is integer value or your, you can say, the floating point value, it's not, you can say, true that after performing certain operations or after doing any kind of a calculation on that, we'll get the value that is, it must be in an integer value. It's possible that the data type of that value after doing certain operations can be changed. Is this doubt clear, guys? What I've informed, is this clear? Okay, okay, okay. That's great, guys. That's great. Okay. Now let's just say, guys, I have this part. Now I want to convert this variable to a floating point variable. How can I do it? So the concept of converting the one you can say variable to the, or you can say one data type to the another data type, is called as typecasting. So this is an integer value. I have to convert this integer value to a floating point value. That is, if I, what I want, that if I'll print this, that is no, so I would get an 12.0. Instead of printing it 12, I want that the output should be 12.0. To do that, I have to do the typecasting. So how I have to, how can I do the typecasting? So simply I'll remove this and I'll say float, and I'll print this like this. If I'll do it like this, now this 12 is an, you can say, integer, but I have run the typecasting format that is known as float. And after you can say after this operation or after this function, the output for this would be stored as 12.0 inside this no. And now this no would be carrying of, you can say, floating point value. Let me just run this code and show it to you. So you can see, since we have passed a 12, but we have got an output as 12.0. So that means if you want to convert any value that is, you can say, in an integer, but you want to change its data type to a float, so how you can do it? Right now I'm passing a variable. Let's just add one more variable, that is no, or you can say number. Let's just say number equal to 12. So now what I can do, I can simply pass number over here and I can it like this. So what happened? The type of this number is changed. Let me just show it to you. So let's just add this. Okay, let's just close this part. Okay, we are getting certain errors. Okay, this is because of this. Let's just print the type of both the values, that is number, and then let's just print the type of no. Okay, and now run this code. Let's just run this code. you, you can see, okay, we have not done this type. Let's just run this code. You can see first one is printing integer and the second one is printing float. So reverse is also possible, students. Now let's just say no is a floating point variable. Now I want to change the no to an integer. How can I do it? I can simply say no equal to what? Int, and then a number, or no. I can simply pass it like this. Let me just zoom back a little bit. That's why I'm getting this. Okay, I can pass no like this. Okay. So this is how you can say it runs, and this is how it works. Let's just close this. Yeah. So now if I'll print, you must be getting an integer over here. Let's just print it. Let's just run this code and print it. So you can see, since no over here is what, no is a floating point value, guys. I've and you can say again at line number 5, I've changed its type to, you can say, integer. So is this clear, guys? Is this clear? The typecasting concept of changing the, you can say, variable from one type to another, is this possible? Is this clear, guys? Okay, that's great. That's great. So I hope that this typecasting part is also clear. Now let's just do certain parts. Let's just change this number to, let's just say, what I'm doing. I'm removing this part from here, okay? And let's just remove this as well. And instead of this, let's just print no, and let's just pass 12.456 like this over here. I've passed the floating point value, guys. This is a floating point value, and that's absolutely clear. We have already talked about it. There is no doubt between this that this is not a floating point value. But integer stores, you can say, a non-decimal value. But what I've done, I've passed the decimal value. So how this integer is going to tackle this? Can anybody guess what would be the output? Okay, some are saying 12. Can anybody tell me what would be the output for this? What would be the output for this code, guys? Okay, is there anyone who is saying that it will print 12 point, you can say 456 or 4 or 5, whatever you think? Okay, so you are saying only 12. Is there anyone who is saying 12.45 or any other, you can say, possibilities? Okay, so everyone is saying 12. Okay, should I assume that the output would be 12? Okay, that's great, guys. That's nice to hear that everybody is learning Python and everybody is giving the correct answer. Okay, that's great. It's absolutely right, guys. If you are passing a floating point value, and if you are having a decimal values, that means if you have certain values in the decimal, so you would be losing some data. If you are passing the integer value to the floating point value, you will not lose any data. Let me just tell it to you why this is happening. So I've talked about that whenever we store a data, it requires certain space. That is, I have talked about matchboxes. Whenever we have to store 4 or 3 matchbox, we'll require, you can say, less container, or you can say less space. If we want to store the less, or you can say if we want to store more data, that is, or more matchboxes, we'll require more spaces. So like this, let's just say, we are storing 9 matchboxes in this big container, and we are storing only 4 matchboxes in this smaller container. So let's just say now I have to adjust this big part into this small container. Let's just say if I want to transfer this and there is nothing inside it, let's just say there is no matchbox, and this is the small container like this, not that much, carrying that much space. If I want to transfer this, so that's, you can say, absolutely we can store either 4, and if we try harder and harder, and if we want to store one more, that means 5 is only possible. And over here 9 matchbox are there, so that means 4 matchbox, we cannot put 4 matchbox, we'll require another container to store that. That's what exactly happens when we convert float to an integer. So float requires more space as compared to the integer. Float requires more space, and integer requires less space. Sorry, let's just clear this. So integer requires what? It requires less space. So if we are transferring the data, if we are saying that, okay, this is a smaller container and this is a bigger container, if we are transferring what we are storing it into a bigger container to the smaller container, that means the space over here would be less. That means some part won't get stored into this. So that's why if we are passing 12.850 something like this into this, so this decimal part would get lost, this would be removed, and only 12 would be stored over here. But reverse, if we think the reverse case, that means we are, what we are doing over here, we are having a matchbox of, let's just say in integer we are having 5 matchboxes, and we have to transfer this into the bigger container. That means which can carry more data or which can carry more container. That is quite possible because the space that float carries is much more, you can say, bigger than what the space is being required by an integer value. That's why if we convert integer to the float, we'll not lose any data. But if we convert the float to an integer, there is a possibility that we'll lose certain data. So I hope that this part is clear. Is this part is clear why we are losing the data when we are converting the floating point value to an integer? Okay, some are saying crystal clear. That's great, guys. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So let's just move ahead and let's just talk about few more data types, guys. So this was integer and float. So we cannot work only with integer and float, guys. We cannot work with number all. We need to store some other data as well, like string. So the second, or you can, sorry, third data type that we are going to talk about today is known as string. So what exactly are these string, guys? So string, this is not a string like if you are thinking of a thread, or if you are thinking of that thread that we use for stitching and all other things. So this is not like this. String is called as, if you want to store any, you can say, English alphabets, or you can say letter or a sentence. Let's just say I want to store this is Python bootcamp. Let's just say if I want to store this into the Python. So if I want to store this kind of a data, so it would be called as a string data. If I'm storing this data into any variable, the data type of that variable would be considered as a string. Let me just show it to you. So let's just say if I'm storing you can say log, you can say sentence. Okay, and over here I'm saying that this is the Python boot camp. And if I'm printing this, print sentence. Yeah. So if I'll run this code, we'll get that this is a Python boot camp. So if you are storing words, or you can say, yeah, Tony, exactly, you can say Shally. So if you are storing any kind of a word, or any, you can say other concepts, like you can say other words, letters, sentences, then this is called as string, guys, into the Python. I hope that string is clear, guys. Okay, okay. Is string clear, guys? Why these? What is string and what exactly we call is, you can say, string is? This string is clear. Okay. Every double quoted value is clear, but okay. If I'm having a single code, let's just have a single code. Let's just talk about this as well. Okay. Can anybody confirm whether this is a string or not, guys? Can you tell if we use the single quote? This I've what I've done, I've removed this double quote and I've added a single quote over here. That is single inverted double. Instead of adding, you can say, two quotes, I've just removed this and I've added a single quote. So can anybody tell me if we are using single quotes instead of double quotes, will this be considered as a string? Guys, we are going to talk about the attendance at the last. It's absolutely clear. We have at every boot camp we share the link at the last. So why you are talking about the attendance link, guys? Just focus on what I'm telling right now. Don't talk about the attendance. We are going to share the attendance link in the last, guys. Okay, output would be same. Let's just run this code and see. Okay, this is the Python bootcamp. The guys, those who were saying that this value would be considered as a string, and you can say the output would be same, or you can say that similar kind of an output. You are absolutely right, guys. It's not true that whenever we say whatever we write into the double quote, that would be considered as a string. If you use the single quote, then also it would be considered as a string. Let me just show you as a proof as well. Let's just say I'm saying type of sentence like this, and after that I'm saying sentence equal to, and I'm adding this into the double quote. Instead of using the single code, what I'm doing, I'm adding it into the double code. So let's just do it, guys, and let's just print this type of, let's just say, let's just show it to you. You can see both we are getting str means string, guys. They both are a string data type. Whether you use a single code or whether you use a double code, this is going to give an output of string, guys. Is that clear? Okay. Now you must be asking why this single code and double code is considered as both string. We can declare this by using double code. There should be one standard format that we should follow. Why there is two formats? But students, if you will see, there is something that we add like this. Let's just say we add apostrophe, or you can say there are certain formats where we add some symbols like this, or we, if we want to empathize on some words, let's just say boot camp, so we put it into a double inverted commas like this. So to print, to get this as an output, let me just show it to you. Let's just print it. You can see over here what we have got this into the double inverted commas. That means boot camp is, you can say, empathized. It is being given more value to this word. So that's why if I would be using double inverted commas, and if I'm adding it like this, let's just add this. Okay, what happened? Let's just, okay, let's just print this and add it like this. Now you can see I want to add a double inverted commas into my sentence to empathize, to put, you can say, more, you can say, attention of the readers onto this bootcamp word. But since double inverted commas marks the end of an, you can say, sentence, or you can say end of the word or end of the string into the Python, so what Python interpreter will takes it like, okay, over here this is the end of, you can say, a new, you can say, end of the string, and over here there is a new string that is going to be started from here, and whatever I have written over here, there is an error in this. He would be considering that what you have written over here and not understanding it. So let's just run this code and see what exactly we are getting into this. Okay, so you can see at line number, I think 4. Yeah, at line number 4, that's the same line we have got an error. To avoid these kinds of an error, we can use these formats. We can use second format, or you can say second part of, you can say, displaying or telling the, you can say, interpreter that, okay, this is a string, and we have put this double inverted commas to put, you can say, attention of the reader. So that's why we are using this. So this will print it absolutely right. If you want to add a single inverted commas, then what you can do, you can just put single inverted commas like this, and then you can add a double inverted commas, and you can tell that, okay, this is a string to the interpreter. Okay, so you can see in, we have got double inverted, sorry, single inverted commas. So I hope that this is clear, guys. This basics, these basics has a lot of value, guys. I hope that this part is clear, guys. Yeah, you can use we cannot use, you can say, double inverted commas and single inverted commas at the you can say same time. This will give an error. Okay, that's great, guys. That's great, that's great. Okay, so the next data types, let's just not talk about this right now. Okay, yeah, let me just open it. Okay, so next data type that we are going to see is known as Boolean data type, guys. So what exactly are the Boolean, guys? So Boolean data type is used to specify any state. Let's just say you must have used switch into your, you can say, house many times, guys. This switch is somewhat like this. Let's just, you can say, okay, over here, and like this switch is like this. My drawing is not that much good, guys, so please avoid this. Okay, let's assume that this is a switch, and if we will press it over here like this would be considered as on, and if I'm pressing it, you can say, into the reverse direction, this would be considered as off. So to turn off the light, let's just say this is a bulb. Let's just have a bulb like this, and this is emitting a light like this is not looking like a bulb, I know that, but if I want to turn it on and off, so I'll use this switch, guys. Now let's just say if I want to have a state of this stored into a variable, guys. Let's just say there is a variable of, you can say, state of bulb. Let's just say bulb. Now I want to store whether this bulb is on or off inside this. So how can I store it inside this? So to store a state of certain, you can say, switch, or you can say state of certain you can say conditions, or you can say output of certain you can say state, we use Boolean. So Boolean has two values, that is true, and then we have what, false. Let's just remove this. We have false. Okay, we have false, guys. So we have true and we have false, guys. So if this is true, you can say, if this is on, we can specify true over here. If this is off, we can specify bulb value as false. So I hope that what is Boolean, that is also you can say clear. If you want to store a state of certain thing, let's just say whether it is turn off or turn on, to do these things we use Boolean value, or you can say Boolean variables. These have two values, that is true and false. True means that the condition, or the, you can say, the state that we are talking about is, you can say, in a running state, or it's correct, or it's true. But if we are specifying false, that means the state that we are talking about is not running. That means in this case the state is that, if we are saying bulb equal to true, that means the bulb is running. The bulb is currently you can say taking the electricity, and it's running properly, and it is giving the light properly. And now let's just say the user or of this bulb, or the person who is living in this room, he wants to go out, and he wants to chill with his friends. So now what he'll do, he'll turn off this bulb. So when he's going to turn off this bulb, we are going to change the state of this you can say variable to bulb equal to false. So if you want to store these kinds of data, we'll use Boolean variable. Let's just talk about that. So let's just say bulb. Let's just talk about bulb only. If we are going to store the bulb true like this, okay, and let's just print this, print bulb. Let's just print. Okay, why we are getting an error? Okay, I got it. This is because of this. Okay, so you can see we have got true as an output. This is not a string, guys. If you are thinking that this is a string, it's not a string, it's a Boolean value. Let me just tell to you. Let me just make it clear. Let's just have a type, and let me just show it to you. You can see we are getting bool. Bool means a Boolean value. We can, in the similar way, instead of having true, we can have a false over here, guys. Let's just print it. So you can see if I'm saying true and then if I'm saying again as false, the value, or you can say the data type is being printed as bool means boolean value. And if I'm running this, you can say, now I'm getting the exact output what is being stored inside this boolean has only true, you can say two values, that is true. You can either store true or you can store false, that's it. And this boolean value is sometimes being also used to take certain decisions. Now let's just say, based upon the, you can say this, whether this bulb is turned off or on, we have to decide that we will run this code, or we'll run some other code. So to do this, this boolean value plays an important role, guys. That's how, or that's somewhere we use boolean value. So I hope that the boolean is also clear, guys. Sam, I'll not increase my speed. The reason behind this is, guys, there are a lot of students, those who don't know anything about the Python. So I have to go and I have to take care of them as well. So that's why you can say going little bit of, you can say in a slow speed. So guys, please bear with this. We'll gradually move ahead and we'll cover the advanced concept as well. Okay, guys, I'll share the attendance link. The bootcamp is not yet over. Please wait for that. I'm going to share the attendance link when the bootcamp is over, guys. Before the bootcamp is over, before the 5 minutes, I'll share the link. Don't worry, guys. Bootcamp is not yet over. I'm still live and I'm still teaching, guys. Okay, is this clear, guys? Okay, is there any other doubt, guys, related to what I've explained up till now? Okay. Okay. So that's it about, you can say, the data type, guys. Let's just move on towards, you can say, one exercise that we are going to do today. Now what is happening, guys, there is one concept that I have, you can say, that I have to inform you in Python. So in certain languages, like those who are coming into the, you can say, world from Java or C++, if you declare a variable with one data type, let's just say I've added integer value over here, that is 12. Integer value, this is an integer value, and that is called as 12 over here. Now let's just say I'm changing this no to 12, that is, this is Python boot camp. So is it's not giving any error. So is this statement true, guys? Will this statement give an error or not? Can anybody confirm? I hope that those who are coming from the Java background, they'll add certain thing into this. Those who don't know about Python, they will, you can say, they will also add certain things. So is this statement true? Okay, let's just add this part. Yeah. Is this statement true, guys? This is not giving an any error right now, but if we'll run this, okay, some are saying error. Yeah. I know this. You must be saying an error. Okay. Some are saying error. Okay. Some are saying no error. That's also great, guys. Okay. No error. Error. Okay. Any other possibility that you might be thinking? Okay, error. Okay. So this is what the beauty of the Python is, guys. So in Java and C++, we have to specify the data type as well, like this. That is your int. Let me just show it to you. We have to specify int, and then we have to add a semicolon as well. This is how we declare it into the Java. But if I'm saying like this into the Java later on, if I'm adding any this type of a syntax, that is, let me just remove this. So if I'm doing this will give an error into the Java. This is not a valid syntax, guys, in Java. If you will declare one variable with one data type, you cannot add any other thing to that container. That means the variable. If you are declaring the variable with the integer type, you are saying that into the Java I'm going to store the integer value. It will only later on also, if you are changing the value of that variable, it is going to only accept the integer value. It is not going to accept any other format of value. But this is not true in Python, guys. In Python, you can pass, if you are, if initially in the beginning, if you have changed, if you have passed the value with 12 or any integer value, if you are going to store any other format, let's just say boolean or string or floating point value, this is absolutely true. This will not give an error. Let me just show it to you. Let me just print the output and show it to you. Python is much more advanced language than other languages, guys. That is your Java and your C++. That's why the industry is talking about the Python, guys. So you can see this is not giving an error, guys. This is absolutely running properly and I'm getting an output. Let me just run it again. So you can see this is not giving an error. There is no error in this code and this is running perfectly fine. So I hope that those who must be coming from the Java background or C++ background, they must be thinking that this is an error, but this is not an error in Python, guys. This is an absolutely correct code and this will not give an error. Is this statement true, guys? Is this statement clear? I hope that this is clear to you guys. Okay, guys, I'm going to share the attendance link. Bootcamp is not yet over. I'm still teaching, guys. I'm repeating it again and again. I'm still teaching. Bootcamp is not yet over. Okay, okay, that's great, guys. Now let me just add one last thing about the data type, and that's all. After this, we are going to end this today's session. So data types, let's just talk about that. Okay, yeah. So data types are of two types. That is known as primitive data type and non-primitive data type. So what is primitive and what is non-primitive? Let me just tell it to you. So what we have talked up till now, that is known as your string, your integer, and your boolean, your floating values. These are called as primitive data, guys. There is this category of non-primitive as well. Now let me just explain you what exactly is the primitive is. Primitive values or primitive data types are those data types which cannot be decomposed further. What do I mean by the decomposed further is you cannot break down this. If you want to store the integer value, can you break down the integer value to some other things? Let's just say there is somewhat like this, that is 1 2 3 4 and 5. I'm storing multiple integer values inside it, but I can break down it later on into one single integer value. Let's just say 1 2 3, sorry, not comma, let's just avoid this. Let's just say 4 and 5. This is called as non-primitive. If you can break down it further, then it is called as non-primitive. But if you are storing once, that is 12. If you are storing one single integer value, you cannot break down this. This is not possible, guys. But if you are storing multiple integer values into the one integer data type, and later on if you want to convert it into the single integer data type, then this type of data type is called as non-primitive. If you are storing multiple integers in one integer value, you can say variable, then it is called as non-primitive. But if you are storing certain data that cannot be decomposed or that cannot be broken down further, that is called as primitive data type. We are going to talk about what exactly are the primitive data types into the next session, but I'll give you the example of this. That is known as array, and we have list, we have tuples, we have sets, we have dictionary. So this is what exactly are the examples of non-primitive data type. We have array, list, tuple, sets, dictionary, and the example of the primitive data types are string, integer, boolean, and float. So we have already talked about string, integer, boolean, and float. Into the next, you can say, session, we are going to talk about non-primitive data types, that are array, list, tuples, and sets, and dictionary. So we are going to see what exactly they are and what is the difference between these things. So I hope that primitive and non-primitive is also clear to you guys. Okay, let's just check this. What would be the output for this? Let's just say if I'm saying a equal to, first of all guys, a is not a valid variable. I've already informed you, if you are declaring any variable as a or b, c, this is not a perfect value, or you can say perfect name of the variable, guys. We have already talked about the naming conventions and we'll follow the naming conventions. So let's just say I'm storing a number, guys, or you can say space. Let's just, instead of, we are going to show the space, so let's just talk about the space and let's just add something like this, and let's just print this space. Let's just say print, and let's just print this space. Let's just see what exactly is the output that we are getting. So you can see over here we are getting some, you can say, blank part. So if you are going to print this part, you are going to get this blank space. That's absolutely clear, guys. Okay, some are saying super clear. That's great. That's really nice to hear that. Okay, let me just add few things. Okay, and then we are going to add it. Let's just say I'm saying 12 over here. Let's just add a 12. And now I'm going to print the type of this space, guys. So let me just remove all these parts. I don't want anything right now. Can anybody confirm what would be the output of this code? Will it will print an integer or a string? Can anybody confirm? Can anybody confirm what would be the output of this code? Double inverted commas 12. I've added this code. Let's just add this. Let me just add this into the chat box. Can anybody confirm what would be the output for this? Guys, you'll get notes, everything. Don't worry about it. I'm going to share the everything after the end of this boot camp. Just focus on what I'm, you can say, what I'm informing you or what I'm teaching right now, guys. This is what you are not going to get it anywhere, guys. This you'll get after a lot of experience, guys. So please focus what I'm telling right now. Okay, some are saying string. That's great, guys. Is there anyone who's saying number or integer? Sorry, not number, integer, guys. Is there anyone who is saying integer, guys? Okay, string. Is there anyone who is saying integer, guys? Okay. Is there anyone who is saying integer? I'm still waiting for a guy who is saying who will say it's an integer. I'm still waiting. Okay, is there anyone who is saying integer, guys? It's an integer value, guys. That's absolutely clear. You can see it's a 12 over here. 12 is an integer value, guys. Can anybody inform into the chat box it's an integer or a string? I'm still waiting for a guy. Okay. There is one guy who has stated that it would be an integer. Okay. There are a few more. Sandeep, Vinay. Okay. Deepu. That's really great. That's great. Okay, now let's just run this code. Guys, you are wrong. If those who are saying integer, you are wrong, guys. It's in string value, guys. Those who are saying string, they are absolutely correct. Guys, please focus. What I've informed is whenever you are writing anything into the double quote, that or a single quote, they would be considered as a string, guys. Let me just run this code and show it to you. So you can see it's printing string. So if you are adding any number into a double inverted commas, it would not be considered as an, you can say, integer value or a floating point value. It would be still considered as a string because you have provided the interpreter the data into the double or a single inverted quotes, guys. So if anybody asks you that the code is written in a double inverted commas, and you are, whether it would be a string data or an integer data, so you can clearly say that since you have passed the data into the double inverted commas, it would be considered as a string data, not an integer data, guys. So I hope that this part is clear. Okay, okay, that's really nice to hear that it's clear. Okay, okay. Is there any doubt, guys? Okay, okay. Okay, that's all about today, guys. I'll let me just share the attendance link, guys, so that you can mark the attendance. Okay, let me just share the attendance link. Guys, please mark your attendance. I'm sharing the attendance link, guys. Please mark your attendance. Please mark your attendance, guys. Okay, okay, that's really nice to hear that everything is clear. Okay, guys, please mark your attendance, and those who have marked their attendance, they can leave, guys. That's all for today. And guys, please make sure that you are attending daily boot camp and you are marking your attendance. If you are going to miss even one day, you won't get a certificate, guys. So I'll highly recommend you to watch the boot camp and stay till the end, guys. Okay, okay. I've shared the attendance link, guys. Please mark your attendance, and the boot camp is ended. Those who have marked their attendance, they can leave the session, guys. I'll wait for 5 minutes for doubt session, guys. Those who have no doubts or they have marked their attendance as well, they can leave, guys. Boot camp is over, guys. Okay, okay. Guys, please check the attendance link properly. Please paste the attendance link into the URL section properly. The attendance link is properly working. There is no issues with that. Let me just share it once again. There are guys who have already marked the attendance as well. Tejaswini will talk about tomorrow's concept, but we are going to talk about non-primitive data type tomorrow, guys. Let me just share it once again. Okay. Okay, I've shared the attendance link, guys. Okay, whatever your name is, I think Toxin or whatever your name is. If you have missed yet, you can say yesterday's class or yesterday's attendance. You are not going to get a certificate, but still you can write your query. If there is some, you can say any major, you can say any other medical issues or any other things. We are going to consider your, you can say, a certificate in that case. But you can write your query into the support @ devtown.in. This is the mail ID with proper certificates and whatever your reason is, your, you can say, medical from the doctor, and you can provide that. If you are going to provide everything, then we are going to consider that. Okay, I've already pasted the mail ID. I hope that the guys, those who are having doubts regarding the certificates and any other things, they can mail on this mail ID, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for this compliments, guys. Thank you, Kiru. Okay, you can use Anaconda. That's really great, guys. Okay, okay. You are going to get the notes, guys. Don't worry about this. That's great. Okay. So now I'm going to end this session, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming and giving the time to the DevTown. That's all. And now that's it. Good night. You can leave this session, guys. Thank you.